Across the UK, grand town halls conceal dark secrets behind their majestic facades. These 15 haunted buildings are not just landmarks. They are the eerie stages where the past refuses to rest. 1. Chester Town Hall. Chester Town Hall, with its imposing Gothic Revival architecture, hides a chilling presence beneath its grand exterior. Built in the 19th century, it's a building that breathes history, but it also breathes something far more sinister. The ghost of Sir John Gray, a former mayor, is said to haunt the hall to this very day. His presence is often felt in the grand staircase, where his ghostly footsteps can be heard echoing in the silence of the night. Several staff members have reported seeing a tall, shadowy figure watching them from the top of the stairs. At times, the air grows inexplicably cold, and the unsettling feeling of being watched permeates the building. It is said that Sir John's spirit, discontent with the decline of his beloved town, wanders the halls, ever watchful and restless. Some even claim to have felt a cold hand on their shoulder as they pass through the rooms, a reminder that some spirits simply cannot let go. On occasion, a deep, sorrowful sigh can be heard reverberating from the dark corners of the hall, as though Sir John longs for the days when the town was in its prime. His ethereal presence lingers, as if waiting for the glory of Chester to return. 2. Tottenness Guildhall. Tottenness Guildhall, a Tudor-era building, has long been associated with eerie happenings. The town itself has a mystical reputation, and the Guildhall is no exception. Locals speak of a woman in white, her mournful figure seen gliding through the hall, her face twisted in sorrow. The tale goes that she was a widow who lived centuries ago, her husband having been lost in mysterious circumstances. Her spirit, now trapped in the hall, has been known to appear at dusk, walking through the chambers, her presence marked by an overwhelming chill that sweeps through the room. Visitors have reported seeing strange shadows darting across the walls, and many have heard faint whispers of names long forgotten. What makes this haunting even more chilling is that her ghost does not seem malicious. Rather, she is a grieving soul, unable to move on, trapped by a deep sense of loss. On some nights, the sound of soft crying can be heard echoing through the empty halls, sending shivers down the spines of those unlucky enough to remain after dark. Some say that if you stand still long enough, you might feel a gentle brush against your arm, the cold fingers of the widow seeking solace. It is as though her sorrow continues to echo throughout the walls, never ceasing. 3. Redford Town Hall. Redford Town Hall, a majestic Victorian structure, harbors a dark secret in its lower levels. The building has stood for nearly 2 centuries, and it is said that the restless spirit of a former caretaker haunts its darkened corridors. The caretaker, who tragically died in a fall while maintaining the building, seems unable to move on. Staff have frequently reported hearing the sounds of heavy footsteps echoing from the cellar, a place that has long been avoided by those who work in the hall. On some occasions, lights flicker on and off inexplicably, and the cold, damp air of the cellar grows even colder, almost unbearably so. The caretaker's ghost is not one of malevolence, but of confusion. Some say he is trying to finish a task he never completed in life, while others believe he is simply wandering, unable to find peace. His presence is unsettling, as though the building itself is holding him hostage in its walls. When walking through the corridors, some have reported the sensation of invisible fingers brushing against their neck, sending a surge of dread that makes them rush for the door, as though being pursued by something unseen. The haunting seems to come in waves, as if the spirit is attempting to interact with anyone nearby, reaching out in desperation. 4. Sheffield Town Hall. Sheffield Town Hall, a grand Victorian building, is famous not only for its architectural beauty, but also for its paranormal activity. Among its many ghosts, the most infamous is a tall, thin man, often seen lurking in the main hall. This apparition is believed to be the ghost of a man wronged during a high-profile trial that took place in the town many years ago. His untimely death, believed to be the result of a miscarriage of justice, left him with a thirst for revenge that he has carried into the afterlife. Witnesses have described feeling a cold chill settle over them when passing the grand staircase, and some have claimed to have seen the figure of the man standing at the top, staring down with an unblinking gaze. The air in the hall often turns thick with an unsettling pressure, and whispers can be heard, as if the spirit is attempting to communicate with the living. It is said that his ghost is a reminder of the injustice that took place within those very walls. When the clock strikes midnight, the sound of his heavy footsteps can sometimes be heard pacing the hall, as though he is reliving the moment of his death in eternal torment. On some occasions, a sharp, cold gust of wind rushes through, as if the spirit itself is searching for a way to resolve his unfinished business. 5. Stockport Town Hall. Stockport Town Hall, with its towering spires and grandeur, hides a more sinister atmosphere than one might expect from its exterior. One of the most common sightings in this grand neo-Gothic structure is the ghost of a young woman, dressed in a tattered gown, who is often seen wandering the grand staircase. Her tragic story unfolds from a time long past, a woman who met a violent and untimely death within the building's walls, her life stolen before it could truly begin. Staff and visitors alike have reported seeing her pale, sorrowful face peering from the shadows, her presence marked by an eerie drop in temperature. Doors are said to slam shut of their own accord, and the soft echo of her footsteps can be heard behind those who wander too close to the staircase. The haunting is said to be a manifestation of her inability to find peace, her soul forever bound to the building in which she perished. Her restless energy seems to stir when the wind howls outside, adding a layer of mystery to her already tragic existence. At times, her figure is said to appear in the reflection of the grand mirrors, a fleeting, sorrowful reminder of a life cut short. The whispers of her name in the air leave visitors feeling as if she is reaching out for something lost in time. 6. Bolton Town Hall. Bolton Town Hall, an architectural gem, has long been a place of interest for those drawn to the supernatural. Its most chilling presence is that of a young child, heard crying late at night. According to local law, the child perished in a fire that ravaged the town in the 1800s, and his ghost remains trapped within the building's walls. Visitors and staff have reported hearing the faint sounds of a child sobbing echoing through the empty hallways, only to find nothing when they investigate. Some have even claimed to see a small, shadowy figure darting through the corridors, only to vanish upon closer inspection. The child's spirit is said to be confused and disoriented, forever lost in the building where he met his tragic end. The feeling of sadness is palpable, and the child's cries seem to reverberate through the night air, chilling all who hear them. At times, the sound of the child's laughter, once innocent and carefree, now seems twisted and hollow, a reminder of the torment that holds him in the afterlife. Those brave enough to stay after dark may hear the faint patter of small feet, pacing endlessly, as if the child is still waiting to be found. 7. Manchester Town Hall. Manchester Town Hall, a stunning example of Victorian Gothic architecture, is not only a place of civic pride, it is also a site of lingering spirits. One of the most haunting apparitions is that of a former mayor who met a tragic end in the town hall in the late 1800s. His spirit is believed to wander the grand halls, still attempting to fulfill his duties even in death. The mayor's ghost is often seen pacing the corridors, dressed in a dark suit, his eyes vacant and searching. Some visitors have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of unease when passing certain rooms, as if they are being watched by unseen eyes. The atmosphere grows dense and suffocating, and the sound of footsteps following behind can be heard, only to vanish when one turns around. His ghost is said to be a lingering reminder of the town's troubled past, forever bound to the very halls where he once held power. The mayor is sometimes seen standing in front of the Grand Council chamber, staring at the empty seats, as though waiting for his colleagues to return, an eternal reminder of his unfinished business. Occasionally, a faint voice resembling his own echoes through the hall, muttering words of frustration at the injustices he encountered during his life. 8. Nottingly Town Hall. Nottingly Town Hall, a quaint yet imposing structure, is home to a haunting that chills to the core. The most commonly seen apparition is a man dressed in a long coat, often spotted walking the corridors late at night. His identity is unknown, but local legend suggests he was a former employee of the hall who met a tragic and mysterious death. The man's ghost is believed to be searching for something, or perhaps someone. Those who have worked in the hall after hours report feeling an intense sense of dread, as though they are being followed. Cold winds sweep through the building, and the sound of footsteps can be heard echoing in the distance, growing louder as if someone is approaching. But when the staff turn to look, no one is there. The spirit's presence is not malevolent, but unsettling, a reminder of a life cut short and a soul that cannot rest. Occasionally, the distant clang of a door slamming echoes through the hall, as if the ghost is trying to escape but is still trapped in the same endless loop. Some have even said to feel the sensation of a hand brushing across their back, as though someone or something is just behind them. 9. Halifax Town Hall. Halifax Town Hall, with its stately Georgian architecture, stands as a symbol of civic pride, but within its walls, a tragic tale lingers. The most well-known ghost is that of a former servant who perished in a devastating fire that destroyed parts of the building. Her spirit is often seen near the grand staircase, where she is said to walk slowly, as though searching for something. The ghost's presence is most keenly felt on stormy nights, when the wind howls through the town and the hall creaks with age. Some visitors have reported hearing the faint sound of footsteps following them as they walk through the hall, but when they turn to look, they find nothing but darkness. It is said that her spirit is not vengeful, but simply lost, wandering through the halls of the place where she met her untimely demise. The feeling of loneliness is palpable, and it's easy to imagine that she's still waiting for someone to guide her to the peace she so desperately seeks. Occasionally, the distinct scent of smoke fills the air, a reminder of the tragedy that claimed her life. The scent is most noticeable when one stands near the stairs, as though she herself is trying to remind others of the sorrow she faced. 10. Bradford City Hall. Bradford City Hall, an iconic building that rises majestically in the heart of the city, is not just a beacon of civic pride, it's also home to a terrifying, lingering presence. The most chilling apparition that haunts the hall is the figure of a man dressed in an old-fashioned suit, believed to be a former city councillor, who was deeply involved in controversial political matters before his death. Witnesses have reported seeing the ghost standing by the Grand Council chamber doors, staring out with hollow, emotionless eyes. His spirit seems to be eternally bound to the hall, waiting for the decisions that shaped his fate to be acknowledged. On stormy nights, the figure is often seen pacing the long corridors, with the soft rustle of his coat trailing behind him. Strange noises, like the clinking of keys or the sound of papers being shuffled, can be heard late at night when the hall is empty. Staff have even experienced feelings of suffocation in certain parts of the building, a suffocating pressure in the air that seems to grow heavier the closer they come to the council chamber. The intense cold, followed by whispers that seem to come from nowhere, often accompany the ghostly figure, as though the man is desperately trying to communicate with the living. Some even claim that on rare occasions, they have felt a cold hand brush against their shoulder, urging them to listen carefully to the whispers. 11. Leeds Town Hall. Leeds Town Hall, a majestic building known for its grand design, holds one of the most eerie and unsettling hauntings in the UK. The ghost of a young woman, dressed in a Victorian gown, is frequently spotted wandering the corridors. It is believed she was once a servant to the mayor, tragically falling in love with a man who was never able to return her affections. Her broken heart led her to end her life in the very halls where she worked, and it is said that her spirit never truly left. Visitors often report an overwhelming sense of sadness when near the grand staircase, where she is most frequently seen gazing mournfully out of the large windows. Many claim to feel her presence before they even see her, an unsettling sense of being watched from the shadows. As her ghostly form drifts through the halls, it is accompanied by the faint sound of her soft sobbing, the heartbroken cries of a woman who has been trapped in time, forever waiting for a love that can never be returned. Those who have had the courage to linger near the windows have even seen her gaze, filled with eternal sorrow, staring into the distance as if yearning for the past to come alive again. 12. Darlington Town Hall. Darlington Town Hall, a Victorian masterpiece, is said to be home to a particularly mischievous spirit, one that seems to enjoy playing pranks on those who enter. Staff have reported finding objects inexplicably moved from one location to another, doors that creak open on their own, and the unmistakable sound of laughter echoing through the empty chambers. The most famous ghostly resident of Darlington Town Hall is a former caretaker who passed away under mysterious circumstances. His restless spirit, still bitter about the way he was treated in life, is believed to be the source of the haunting. His ghostly figure is often seen in the dark corners of the hall, wearing a tattered uniform, and sometimes a cold gust of wind will rush through the building when no windows are open. The sound of creaking floorboards is frequently heard, as though he is walking just behind those who venture into the hall after dark. Those who have encountered the spirit say that he is not violent, but his antics are enough to unsettle even the most seasoned staff members. A particularly disturbing feature of his haunting is the sensation of being watched. Visitors report that they often feel as if someone is right behind them, breathing down their necks, though no one is ever visible. 13. Middlesbrough Town Hall. Middlesbrough Town Hall, a stunning example of 19th century architecture, is a place of history, culture, and, some say, unsettling terror. The most notorious ghost of the hall is that of a man believed to have been a former performer at one of the many concerts held at the venue. Legend tells of a tragic accident that befell him while he was performing on stage, leading to his untimely death. His spirit is said to still haunt the building, drawn to the grand auditorium where he once entertained crowds. The ghost is often seen in the upper balconies, watching performances from the shadows. A strange, cold draft fills the air as if the building itself remembers the tragedy that occurred. Those who have worked late into the night report hearing faint piano music echoing from the stage when no one is present, accompanied by the soft shuffle of feet as if the ghost is walking between the seats. There are even accounts of lights dimming unexpectedly, as if the ghost is trying to recreate the atmosphere of his final performance. Visitors who dare to attend late-night events often describe a sudden drop in temperature followed by an overwhelming sense of sorrow, as though the ghost is longing for the applause he never received in life. 14. Stamford Town Hall. Stamford Town Hall, an elegant building steeped in centuries of history, is known for more than its grand architecture. It is the site of an eerie, centuries-old haunting. The ghost believed to walk its corridors is that of a former mayor who was tragically killed in a violent dispute with rival politicians. His anger and frustration were never resolved in life, and it is said that his spirit remains, still seeking vengeance. His ghost has been seen wandering the hall late at night, his face twisted with rage as he searches for someone or something to punish. Visitors report hearing the sounds of harsh footsteps echoing down the long hallways, followed by an overwhelming sense of fear and anxiety. The temperature drops significantly when his ghost is near, and some have even claimed to hear the man muttering under his breath, his voice filled with anger and bitterness. There are reports of mysterious gusts of wind that seem to appear out of nowhere, as if the spirit is furious and seeking release. The most chilling encounter comes when the figure of the mayor is seen standing in the council chamber, glaring at the empty seats with a look of frustration, perhaps waiting for the people he blames to return so that he might settle his grievances. 15. Beric Town Hall. Beric Town Hall, located in the historic town of Beric-upon-Tweed, is a building that attracts more than just the attention of its visitors. It is said to house the restless spirit of a former town clerk who was involved in a tragic accident. Local legend states that the clerk, who was often seen working late into the night, fell from a balcony during a storm, tragically dying from the fall. His spirit is believed to still haunt the hall, especially near the balcony where he met his untimely end. Visitors have reported seeing his shadow moving across the upper floors, with the faint sound of footsteps echoing behind them, even when they are alone. Some claim to hear the clerk's voice in the halls, calling out for someone, though no one is ever seen. The most terrifying encounters, however, are those who feel an overwhelming sense of dread when they approach the balcony, an icy cold that seems to settle around them. The air grows heavy, and the sound of wind howling outside becomes deafening, as if the spirit is trying to communicate the circumstances of his death. A chill runs through the building whenever his presence is near, a constant reminder that even the most historic places hold within them unfinished stories that refuse to be forgotten. As we uncover the haunting stories that linger in these historic buildings, we're reminded that history never truly fades. It haunts us, shaping the present in ways we can't always explain. If you're fascinated by the eerie and the unknown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Creepy Experience. Stay tuned for more chilling tales that will send a shiver down your spine.